unveiling the landscape and debates beyond the laboratory.
Thank you very much for having me. I would like to commend the organizers of this summit. Interestingly, the issue we're talking about affects each and every one of us. It's about the food we eat, and we must all take special interest in what we are doing right now and beyond this event. It's about promoting organic food, organic farming, letting people know that they should eat food and not chemicals. And also to let people know that food sustains, but chemical kills. So these are fundamental facts that we must come to terms with. Now, as a media practitioner, I very much agree that yes, the media has a key role to play. We do have a role, and our role is pretty much that of advocacy and sensitization of the populace, the farmers, the consumers, as well as government. We all saw this coming. It is clearly an orchestration by forces outside of government who have been working through the years to undermine different nations. When the issues of insecurity started in Nigeria and the bandits, destroying farmlands, working with herdsmen, we knew that we were going to come to a point where organic farming was going to become almost impossible. And like the earlier speaker, the barrister, did say, those who genuinely wanted to find ways to increase their farm yields had issues with space and time. They had just a few months in the year available for farming, and they had limited space. So they were looking for ways to increase their farm yields, and that is understandable. But when you come to this side of the divide, where we have arable lands, I mean, it is a continent, I would say, and particularly for Nigeria, where you can drop a seed pretty much anywhere and you come back, it has germinated. That is how fertile our soil is. And then to deliberately destroy this fertility, to deliberately destroy this productivity potentials of our soils with a view to imposing on us these genetically modified crops or products is unacceptable. And as a media, we have a responsibility to educate the public, to let them know why this is injurious to the populace, and why we also as journalists must be very circumspect, because now there are grants being offered the media by the same elements behind the destruction of our organic agricultural practices to begin to influence the journalists to promote GMO, as it were, to make you feel that it is the best thing to happen to us as a people. And this has been happening through the years, and they have only just increased the grants for media organizations and practicing journalists. They are offering them scholarships, fellowships, and they are making it attractive to them. You publish stories that promote GMO as safe for consumption, and there is a lot of money to be given to the media. Now, as committed journalists, we must shun such offers. And also, we must understand that we owe ourselves a duty, because you don't know who is going to consume this product. You don't know who's going to consume it. We must also go a step further to educate the consumers. In developed climes where serious concerns have been raised, GMO products are marked, and people who go to shops, who go for their grocery shopping, they insist on what they want. So there is the organic and there is the GMO. So we must educate the public, and if consumers insist on organic, then we are obviously telling those behind the GMO products that there is no market for you in our society. So we must take up this responsibility to educate our consumers as well. We must also engage our lawmakers, no doubt. We must engage our regulators. There are questions begging for answers. Like one of our presenters, I think that was Mrs. Joyce, talked about the research findings. Before the GMOs are approved for use, the seeds are approved for farmers, where are the results of the tests that they conducted? So as journalists, we must ask these questions and demand for answers. We must demand for answers, because in finding answers to these questions, we can begin to expose some of the undercurrent transactions, because we are getting information that are quite troubling. How that grants are being given to supposed scientists, researchers, who are pseudoscientists. They just collect these grants, they buy new cars, they acquire new properties, and they just endorse the narratives of those who are behind these killer products. These chemicals disguised as food. They are not food. They are chemicals, and chemicals kill. They don't help at all. So we must expose these hidden findings, and of course, there are also genuine scientists. We have Professor Christobeg and his likes, who are genuinely committed to exposing the facts behind the GMOs. And as journalists, we must identify such voices and help project their narratives for the safety of our society. Because if we do not do this, if we don't play our roles, and the people behind this agenda succeed, we are culpable. We can't claim to be ignorant, because we have a responsibility and we must play our roles. Of course, there are also concepts, initiatives that would work, that we need to begin to point those in positions of leadership to them. For instance, in 1976, thereabouts, we had the Operation Feed the Nation. That was under the federal military government of Olusegun Obasanjo. This was an initiative that was supposed to help us increase our production, organic production, help bring down the prices of foodstuff and agricultural products, but they were frustrated. They were frustrated strategically, and with the use of insecurity and the use of some of these chemicals, and the same people came back to tell us that the initiative failed. So as a country and as a government that is committed to the people, what we should do is go back to such initiatives and look at what didn't work, what worked, and how we can enhance it for the benefit of our society. And I also think the issue of security must be taken seriously as journalists. We cannot but point everybody to the fact that the insecurity in our core states that were considered the food baskets of the nation is also largely responsible for the food crisis, artificial food crisis we're having today. Because if we can ensure that there's security, the farmers can go back and engage in the organic farming that we are used to, there will be organic food produce. And with that, there is no market for the GMO products. And I think we as media must understand these responsibilities we have, all right? And then the lawmakers, we will not let them have any peace. We will engage them, and we will make sure we project these narratives. The people behind them may not have as much funds like those who are projecting the wrong narratives. But you see, we have a responsibility. We have a mandate to inform our audience, to inform the public. And we cannot but make sure that we carry out this responsibility. And I want to commit to ensuring that beyond here, we are going to bring together, we are going to create platforms to bring together journalists, media practitioners, so that we can form a formidable force, as it were. Because we don't want just the media house to be a lone voice like National Daily or our media friends who are here just reporting these events, this event one-off. No, we want to bring us together, and that's why you're here, to form a partnership. Because these products we are talking about may be consumed by your cousins, by your grandparents who may not know enough, by your uncles, by your cousins. And we would also ensure that across our various media platforms, we task our editors, our reporters, to ask the right questions, to interrogate the narratives around the so-called safety of the GMO. We must interrogate them and seek to expose the fraud behind it, and why we project the voices of those who are helping to save lives. We are not unaware of the depopulation agenda of those who are practically sponsoring more than 90% the so-called researchers behind the GMO, particularly in Africa and in our great country, Nigeria. So we know that the government is dealing with some situations they practically don't know how to deal with, and they are almost vulnerable. And they are falling to anybody who offers some sort of help. But we know that these helps are not helps in themselves. They are masked, as it were. And that is where we come in. So we must educate the consumers to ask questions. The products you are consuming, are they GMO? Are they organic? And we must begin to also initiate special articles, programs across our media platforms that address these issues. We can't wait for the symposiums. We can't wait for the workshops. But we have our various media platforms, and every day we have our audience before us, and we have a responsibility to inform our audience, to make sure they are aware of the dangers of these GMO products, and why we are holding to task those who have the responsibility in government, regulators, even associations, farmers' unions. We must hold them accountable and make sure that they do the right thing, and we preserve the lives of our citizens. Thank you very much for the opportunity to make this contribution. Thank you.
GMO foods. Unveiling the landscape and debates beyond the laboratory.